Good morning, afternoon, and or evening to all of you who are watching this. Some of you may be in parts of the world that are still dark, others may be dealing with morning. So for whatever time of the day, greetings to you. For those who are joining us, who are continuing to join us, welcome back. To those who are first timers here, we welcome you and we are glad you are with us. I want to first just start by saying if you hear any background noise, my apologies. The area in which I am doing this video in has a window open, so you're hearing the outside noise. I apologize for that, but it's got to remain open. And if you're wondering why you're seeing what looks like a plant, you are seeing that because unfortunately in our previous videos, as I'm sure those of you who have been with us for a while know, we used to focus in on a very pretty tree. However, due to some privacy concerns, that kind of had to stop. So instead of making you all stare at a blank white wall, because you know we value our anonymity on this channel, I figured if I put that up, at least it would look a little decorative for you. So yeah. Anyway, and on a final note for the introduction, some of you that have been with us for a while know already that we only post here what we feel is directed to do so by God. We don't just decide, on a whim, we're posting this, we're posting that because we feel like it or I feel like it. And I only say I because I'm the one that's kind of in charge of the video aspect of this channel, and I'm proud to do it and I'm happy to do it. So, but we wait till God says, all right, that's what I want up there. So, anyway, that's why it's sometimes you get videos like every week. Other times it could be you're waiting 2 months and all of a sudden there's a video. But where this is Christmas month, and if you're tuning into this video, you're obviously a person of faith in some way, whether you are a Christian person of faith or a non-Christian person but is still interested in the Christian minded ways of doing things. So to anyone and all, welcome. Today we have several things that I'm going to be discussing on behalf of the channel, or page, however you want to look at it. This may end up being a part 1 and part 2 situation, not sure yet, depending on how much time I have and how much I can cover. So that said, we're going to get right into it. And I'm sorry if there's a lot of ums and ahs. I wanted a little more time to prepare by kind of having a little bit of a rough draft of what I want to say, but unfortunately, life got in the way and that didn't happen. So I'm just winging it and doing my best, as some of you know from other videos. So what I did end up doing, though, is I wrote a list of what I'm talking about at least. So at least I know the topics. So that's one good thing. Anyhow, I'm going to get right into this because, like I said, I want to get as much done. So hopefully this will be a 1 video, but if not, it'll be a part 2. All right, so the first thing is I wanted to offer, and again, I just say I because I'm doing the video, but it's on behalf of the channel. I wanted to go over, for those who might be interested, and what I'm about to talk about is not to try to get anybody to not celebrate Christmas or to feel negative about Christmas or anything like that. It's just I myself happen to be someone who loves history and where things originated from, how things started. So one of the topics that was agreed to be talked about on here was the origin of Christmas, which I actually cannot find. I'm sorry to say it. I thought I saved it, but apparently I did not. The original page that I found, it was by like either the History Channel or one of those reputable sites, but I can't remember. It was like either the History Channel site or one of those like ones that everyone's heard of, but I can't think of what, like Discovery or something like that. And I thought I saved it, but see, I'm using my laptop, which it's probably actually on my laptop, but yeah, see, I'm not seeing that. Okay. Anyway, I did save the page, but I think it's on my laptop, which the laptop is what I'm recording the video off of, and I can't get it now. So I was trying to find it on my cell phone, and I couldn't get the exact page, so I'm just going with what I can find, because basically the page here says more or less what the other one said. But I'm going to let you know, I was originally going to include all the links to all the pages, so that way I could back up everything I'm saying. But there's so many versions of this truth, as far as like different pages say the same thing but just worded a little differently. So I'm just going to say straight out to anyone who is thinking, well, I want proof, I want to see it for myself, I don't want to just go with what you're saying, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm the same kind of person. I am not offended. The channel is not offended. All you have to do, if you decide you want to, is just type in origin of Christmas and a bunch of stuff will come up. But many people, I don't think, really think to do that. It's not, it's not something people usually think about. It's just an automatic, it's Christmas, and they do whatever their Christmas traditions are. But I actually decided I wanted to look into it, and I actually found out, first of all, most people I think know at this point. I'm not sure, but I think most people know. And if there are children in the room, please use caution, because I'm talking about facts and history, and some of this may contradict what you've taught them, and I don't want to be responsible, neither does the channel, for ruining their Christmas spirit or anything like that. So some of these things, when I first found out as an older person, like as in a non-child person, I was actually devastated with one of these facts. So I'm just warning in advance before I continue. If there are children in the room and you maybe don't want them to be hearing everything yet in life, bring them into another room or put your headphones on. Okay, so now that that's said, most of us probably at this point know that Jesus Christ was not born on December 25th. From what I have read from many different religious sites and, like I said, history sites, I try to just go for the reputable ones, things that actually have been heard of before, like the History Channel website or Discovery Channel website, things like that that have some actual decent reputation to them. And from everything I have read, Jesus Christ was supposedly, he was born in like late fall, I believe. It was like September to October time. Some people have even stretched it and said that from what I've read, again, I'm just going by what I've read, that it's actually like late summer. So between late summer to like middle to late fall is actually supposedly when Jesus was born. So from what I've also read, the history behind the December 25th date for celebrating his birth was because one of the popes, and I am not good with trying to pronounce most of these names of popes, so your guess is as good as mine, but one of the popes apparently made it that date because there were already winter solstice celebrations and other celebrations similar going on, and as what I've read with many other holidays, to do with like pagan faith, that the Pope wanted, whatever the Pope was at each given time, wanted to almost sort of, I don't mean to say it meanly, but I don't know how else to say it, but sort of kind of knock out some of the attention to the non-Christian holidays. So they added the Christian holidays on those dates so that there would be more attention drawn, because of course the Catholics and other non-Catholic Christians back then we didn't have freedom of religion back then, is what I guess I'm nice at trying to say. So Christianity was like the most popular one. And of course, as Christians, we don't believe that there is goddesses and gods and all this. It's one God, Father, Son, one God, which is the Father, and then his Son, and then the Holy Spirit. Some Christians believe it's three gods in one. I am not one that believes that, but some people do, and then they, of course, again, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Holy Trinity. So back when Christmas was first Christmas, as the Christians know it, it was because of the other holidays that were going on. They wanted to not only kind of make the Christian faith more known, but also they figured where the holidays are, these other celebrations are already going on, that it would be a good time to add ours to it, basically. So anyway, I just wanted to go over this. It said, this is called livescience.com, or livescience.com. And it says the title of this article is Pagan Roots, 5 Surprising Facts About Christmas. And again, I'm restating that this was not the original page I found that I was going to share with you, but because whatever the page was is saved on my laptop instead of my cell phone, I can't get to it, which was apparently poor planning on my part, but my apologies. So anyway, let's see here. When you gather around the Christmas tree or stuff goodies into a stocking, you're taking part in traditions that stretch back thousands of years, long before Christianity entered the mix. Pagan or non-Christian traditions show up in this beloved winter holiday, a consequence of early church leaders melding Jesus' nativity celebration with pre-existing midwinter festivals. Since then, Christmas traditions have warped. Sorry, I think I got gifts on the brain here. That was cute. Okay, since then, Christmas traditions have warped over time, arriving at their current state a little more than a century ago. Read on for some of the surprising origins of Christmas cheer and find out why Christmas was once banned in New England. And if you're wondering, New England, look up New England states. There's like 4 or 5 of them. Some of us here to do with this channel are actually members of New England states, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so first of all, it says, number 1, early Christians had a soft spot for pagans. It's a mistake to say that our modern Christmas traditions come directly from pre-Christian paganism, said Ronald Hutton, a historian at Bristol University in the United Kingdom. However, he said, you'd be equally wrong to believe that Christmas is a modern phenomenon. As Christians spread their religion into Europe in the first centuries of AD, they ran into people living by a variety of local and regional religious creeds. Christian missionaries, this seems like it's going to be wow, that's really long. Okay, you know what? We're not going to do it like that because the original thing I saw was a lot quicker. So I'm just going to say, if you want to know more about it, because I pretty much explained why Christmas is celebrated on December 25th already, and that first paragraph kind of restated what I just said, you can learn about that more. This particular website just goes on and on and on. It gives all the facts, but it just really goes on. So, and I don't want to spend the entire thing on just one topic. So, anyway, like I said, if you type in origin of Christmas, you can get all the facts you want on it. But my main thing was just to let everyone know that a lot of the Christian-based Christmas traditions were actually taken from pagan traditions for their winter solstice celebrations, and pretty much like the Christmas tree has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. Presents were, as far as Christians see it, was supposed to be like a do this in remembrance of me deal, where with the 3 wise men bringing gifts to Jesus on Christmas Eve and so on. That was supposedly to do with that, but there's like all kinds of different origins to these things, and how basically the Christians sort of more or less kind of stole them a little bit and put their own twist on them. So I want to say that as delicately as possible, not to seem rude in any way, but so yeah, we encourage you at this channel to kind of really look into it. Don't just immediately just do something because it's just that's what we've done our whole lives. Really research and find out why you're doing it. So let me see here. Let me see. I actually think I might save this for myself to read later. This is actually kind of interesting. So anyhow, the next topic I want to discuss, or we want to discuss, is, if I can get to it, give me one little second here, the candy cane. I was going to save this actually till the end, but this is kind of something that I'm like really excited to share. I'm not honestly sure if this is completely a true thing or not, and I will be honest, there are there are many variations of what I'm about to talk to you about, but this is kind of my favorite. And again, just going by word of mouth and what I'm reading online, so it's up to you to decide whether you're going to believe it or not. But the way I look at it, even if it isn't true, I just think it's kind of a beautiful way to think of it. So one of the things that I was recently reading about is the candy cane, and how the Christians view the candy cane. It's not just a sweet treat to eat at Christmas or in December, but from what I read, each part of the candy cane, right down to the candy cane shape, has very significant Christian meaning. So I will just read to you what I read, and you can take it however you want. The white base color of the candy cane symbolizes Jesus' purity. The red stripes symbolize Jesus' blood when he died on the cross, and the J shape was chosen to represent the J in Jesus. That was my favorite version of it. Let me see. I have here, if it'll show me. What is going on? Hang on a minute, everybody. I'm having a technical problem with my phone. Alright, let me put this on pause. It won't affect you guys, but I gotta fix my phone. Hang on a second. Okay, problem fixed. I don't know what happened. My phone just kind of went wonky on me. Anyway, so I was getting ready to tell you that there are different versions of what is referred to as the candy cane prayer, or the Christian meaning of the candy cane. So let me get to that. This is a little poem that somebody wrote, just says author unknown. The Legend of the Candy Cane. Look at the candy cane, what do you see? Stripes that are red like the blood shed for me. White is for my Savior, who's sinless and pure. J is for Jesus, my Lord, that's for sure. Turn it around, and a staff you will see. Jesus, my shepherd, was born for me. That's one of them. And then, let me see here. Come on. Okay, and this is one of the earliest ones, yeah. This is one of the first ones I found, and it kind of explains who apparently came up with this. It says, the meaning of the candy cane. Many years ago, a candy maker wanted to make a candy that would symbolize the true meaning of Christmas, Jesus. The hard candy was shaped like a J to represent that Jesus is our rock of all ages. The candy was made of white to stand for the purity of Jesus. The red represents the blood that Jesus shed to save us from our sins. So next time you see a candy cane, take a minute to remember the real meaning of Christmas. I kind of actually really love that. Another one of those. I'm glad I did this because I got to see it for myself too. So the candy cane prayer, or meaning of the Christmas candy cane, is like what I just said, what I read to you, and I just wanted to share it with everyone because I just thought it was absolutely a beautiful way to look at it. And even if it's, like I said, I can't confirm whether it's true or fiction, but either way, I just thought it was actually a beautiful way to look at it. So, and the next thing, I just wanted to talk a little bit about praying. Kind of seems like a general or generic topic to discuss, but prayer is actually the most non-generic thing you could possibly do as a person of faith. Whether you're Christian or non-Christian, it makes no difference. Praying is a way to have a personal conversation with your Creator, whether your Creator is God or any other religious deity or deity. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. It is the most private way you can talk to them. You can talk out loud, talk quietly. It's totally up to what you're comfortable with. But I kind of wanted to discuss how to pray. And that's not to try to say I'm an expert or anything. I just wanted to share something that I do in my prayer conversations, as I encounter a lot of people that say, I don't know if I'm praying the right way, I don't know if I'm praying for the right things, and I don't know how to sort of let God take control of my life. So I just thought I'd share with you, and if this is a very recent thing for me, to be honest, I myself just discovered this. I actually sort of got the inspiration a little bit by actress Pauley Perrette. I watched one of her videos on YouTube one time, and she was discussing about how she found faith and, you know, everything she believes in. And actually the video was extremely informative, very helpful, and actually took the celebrity out of the name Pauley Perrette and just made her a person. So it was a very good thing there. But in one part of the video, and I can't remember every detail she talked about, but the thing that really stood out to me and still stands out to me is when she was saying that, she used to always pray, please let me have this, or please let this happen, and all that. And she was like, God would say to me, not right now, kid, or, be patient, or I'm going to do that, but, and that's how she feels God communicated with her, which is very similar to how I feel God communicates with me. I don't believe it's just a matter of I talk and there's like no response. I get responses in whatever way God chooses to use to respond, whether through another person, doing something that, I really prayed hard for, and I'm like, oh, wow, that prayer happened, but God used this person to do it, or I just hear him talk to me, and I can't explain how that works. It's just between him and I. But anyway, one of the things that, and of course, what a lot of times happens too is I get a sign, whether it's like I see something or hear something, and it's kind of like, a little light bulb, like, there's your answer. I'm like, thanks, God. So answers from God come in all shapes, sizes, and ways. So you just got to be open to it. But one of the things she had said was, when she realized, am I even doing this the right way? Am I praying for the right things? And she said, one day I just said, thank you for everything, and I'm sorry for everything. And she, in her video, she said, all of a sudden one day I realized just how huge that is. I'm saying thank you for everything, not just thank you for the good, but also thank you for the bad, and help me get through the bad. And so for quite a while after I heard her video, I actually started saying that, because it just really hit home, and I'm like, I really love that. Thank you for everything. It just kind of covered everything. It's like everything that you did that I'm aware of you did good, thank you. Everything that went wrong, but you got me through, thank you. And everything that you did that I was oblivious to, because as humans we're oblivious, I think, more than we're not, thank you for that too. So I started doing that, and then just recently, I started feeling kind of almost anxious all over again, like I used to, feeling like, I'm praying for these few things all the time and I don't see anything happening. What's going on? Not that I didn't think God was hearing you there, but it's like, do I have false hope for these things? Give me a sign that there's a reason to have hope for these things to happen, And then all of a sudden it hit me, why are you worrying so much? God's in control of this. He's in the driver's seat of your life. You don't have to worry. And then I thought, and then the serenity prayer actually came into my head, and I'm like, yeah, I like that too. Just like, what Polly Perrette said, I like both what she said and the serenity prayer, but I kind of wanted to feel like it was completely organic, like my time with God was my time, that it was completely coming from me and from me alone, and so, no borrowed words or anything. So I came up with this, and I actually at this point don't mind sharing it, because this was something that I kind of came up with on my own, or maybe God gave me the idea, I don't really know, but this is how I've been praying lately, and I want to share it with you all, because if you're looking for at least a starting point, I mean, over time when you get comfortable or more comfortable with praying, you might on your own come up with and say, okay, I liked what they said on, in this video, I liked what she said, but I want to put this little twist because it's completely mine, which is fine. But I've been kind of using a little bit of Polly Perrette's words and a little bit of the Serenity Prayer by saying, and I refer to him as Father because that's what I consider him. I don't say God or anything like that. I just, when I'm talking to people, I refer to him as God so that people know directly who I'm talking about. And that, no, I'm not talking about my dad. I'm talking about Father in heaven. But I always would say, now I started to say, and Father, you know all my prayers, the ones I consider most important, those I ask that you take care of in Jesus' name. And then I always say, and for the things that I can take care of with your help, please help me to do so. The things that I am not able to take care of, I ask that you take care of for me in Jesus' name. And before I said that, I did a couple of days of I just basically said, I'm really frustrated. I don't know how to pray, so I'm just going to say, whatever I'm able to take care of, help me to do it. Whatever I can't take care of, you can, so please take care of it for me. I love you and thank you. So both versions are kind of, I think, were helpful. And it actually, for me personally, took the stress. I mean, prayer time used to be my time to relax. I felt close to God and just happy. And then I started actually feeling anxious all over again, like maybe I'm not saying this right, and way too much pressure. So I just say it like that now, and it just took the pressure right off. Because it's like, I don't know what I can handle myself until I try. So, I've always heard God helps those who help themselves, so that's why I changed it. And I'm like, whatever I'm able to handle, whatever you feel I can handle, give me the ability to do it. Because even when I can handle myself, I still need God's help to do it. It's not like I'm saying whatever I can handle completely by myself. God's hand is still in that. It's just, I think some things God gives us the ability to take care of. Like maybe a friend comes up and says, I need some advice. Whatever the advice is, you hear what their problem is, and it's like, well, I don't really need to pray on this because I've been in that position and this is what I did and it worked out. So, you still need God, but not quite as much as maybe, for example, my loved one is battling a rare condition and there's nothing I can do it for, help, heal them for me kind of thing. So, I just wanted to share that with you. Hopefully, that kind of, if you are stressed out or feeling anxious about prayer time, then maybe that might help you. I'm not sure. And if any of you out there listen to this have any special ways that you pray, please leave a comment. I believe, and at this channel we all believe, it's people helping people. People of faith helping other people of faith. Whether you're a Christian or a non-Christian person of faith, it doesn't matter to us. It's just a community of people giving, sharing, loving, caring, forgiving, encouraging, inspiring, all that. So, and helping. So, that's just my contribution. I'm hoping that it'll help somebody. And if it does, let me know that too. And the last thing right now that I wanted to add, as I said, I can't remember, there was a couple of things. I wrote down what I could remember because this was like over like a week-long period of things popping in my head and other people kind of adding and stuff. So combined with everything, this is what I remembered out of it. I should have been writing it down as things were being told or I heard things, but I'm like, okay. So I just did what I could, but if I think of anything else that was brought up that I forgot to mention, like I said, I can do a part 2 to this video, and then in turn, I'll add the little phrase part 1 to this, so that way when you're looking, you'll realize, oh, there was more coming. So, and if I can, I'll try to make the next video, if there is one, next weekend, so that way it's before Christmas, in case there's any more Christmas inspiration here. But the last thing, I just want to get right into it so that I can make sure I say this before I have to stop, is a very dear friend of mine. I won't name names right now for reasons of privacy, but a very, very dear friend of mine, someone I would actually at this point consider to be one of my best friends, asked me to read something for her and to give her my opinion about it. And in that reading material that she gave me, I'm even trying to keep that a little private for her sake. In that reading material, it was one of the parts in it was mentioned about Jesus' time here on earth. And the part that I'm going to talk to you about, and I'm not using the words that I'm just using my own words to describe what was written, because it's not mine to, the words aren't mine to disclose publicly. But anyway, in the section of words that I was reading, it was basically, described that someone was wondering if Jesus was satisfied or not with his time on earth. Most of us, I believe, know that he died at the age of 33. And with all his teaching and just teaching and preaching and stuff like that, it was wondered, in his 33 years here on earth, did he accomplish what he wanted to? Did he, when he was knowing that he was going to die, was he thinking, I wish I had more time to do more? Or was he happy with, did he feel he completed what he came here to do? Or did he wish he could do more while he was here? Or even stay longer to do more? And that particular part just completely stopped me in my tracks, because I had actually never thought of that before. It was just always taught to me. Jesus was born, and he taught the people what they were supposed to know, and then he was crucified, died, and on Easter rose, and basically anyone that is a Christian pretty much knows the story. So I don't really have to go into that part of it, but I never stopped to think, um, was he satisfied with his time here on earth? Did he long to do more? Did he wish he could do more? Um, and I wanted to share that even in the early stages of this conversation because, or in the early stages of this journey, I don't know how else to say that, but because I realized that I think even in a small way, which wasn't that small to me in all honesty, I think was part of God's purpose for my friend to ask me to read that reading material. Um, because with that writing, I was taught something. I was taught something that up until that point in my life I had never even considered. I mean, it was just an automatic, almost like robotic, you know. This is what you learn, this is what you taught, this is what the truth is. And then when that stopped, it was almost like one of those defining moments in my faith almost. I was like, oh yeah, you know, I just automatically was always taught God's there, you pray to him, Jesus came, taught people, died, so on and so forth. Not quite so coldly, mind you. I was taught a little bit more nicer than that, but I'm just trying to kind of paraphrase a little bit to get through this because I don't want to have to cut off abruptly here. But it was just such sort of like a light bulb going off in my head and a mixture of sort of like a friendly punch in the gut. That's the only way I know how to describe it. It wasn't like in a bad way. It was just one of those like, oh wow, yeah. I just assumed, yeah, Jesus was happy and he did what he came to do and everything else, but was he happy? I mean, nobody knows. You know, nobody got to say, hey, Jesus, did you feel like you accomplished everything? You know, and I kind of wanted to share that, you know, maybe this Christmas, we could all just take a few minutes, whether it's as a family. Some families I know out there will have, like, you know, Bible studies together, or just, you know, religious conversations in general, you know, like in the living room or something like that, or at the kitchen table, or talking while, you know, over dinner or whatever. Um, and I encourage a conversation in all your homes as to the purpose and meaning to Jesus' time with us here, you know. And when I say us, I know it wasn't our time period, it was long ago, but still, his time is, from what I understand, to represent mankind's time, you know. So, and as far as we know, Jesus is coming again, but it really, reading the words that I read, stopped me just dead in my tracks, and I was like, wow, I actually never thought of that. I just, you know, it was never even a thought in my mind. It was always taught, this is what happened, this is the course of events that took place, and I figured, okay, well, that's what was supposedly told in the Bible, that, you know, there'll be a Messiah born, he'll teach the right ways and stuff, and then crucified and rise on Easter and so on and so forth. It never occurred to me to wonder, was Jesus happy with his time? Was he satisfied? Did he feel when he was leaving us in the physical form that he accomplished everything he wanted to accomplish? You know, so I encourage family conversations, and we at this channel in general, of course, encourage family conversations about this subject, about this topic. You know, if Jesus truly felt that he did what he came to do, or did everything he came to do. And I know we can't know that as humans. It's not like we can, you know, just take the elevator up to heaven and say, hey, Jesus, when you were down here, did you feel you did everything? I know we can't do that, but I think it's important to have conversations to, you know, instead of just going according to what was told to us and just believing it right on the spot, start up the lines of conversation, you know, open up, let your kids know it's okay to ask about things that maybe don't make sense to them about their religion, or, you know, if they realize something that, you know, doesn't quite add up, that there's a bookload of things that I could fill a book of all the things that I realized, wait a minute, this and this, they say this in the church, but this was said and it doesn't add up and make sense. And my family and I have had so many conversations like that, I can't even tell you. We've had so many about, you know, even my own family members, You know, the members of my family who are older than myself have even done that, you know, said, you know, speaking of that, this and this never made sense to me either. Now that you bring that up, you know, I never thought to question it, but now I'm starting to realize as I get older, wait a minute, maybe it's good to question some of this stuff. Because just because a priest or pastor or minister or rabbi or whatever tells you something doesn't mean you don't have the right to question what you're hearing. And I'm not saying not to respect your church elders or any of that, but I'm saying part of growing as a person of faith is asking questions, learning, you know, doing your own research, finding out something, and then asking your church leaders, you know, I read this or that, what's the deal? Or you said this last Sunday or whatever religious day you have. Some people do their worship on Saturdays, but you know, you said this during your last sermon or your last conversation, but then you said this and I read this, I'm confused. You know, that's how we learn, that's how we grow, that's how we become stronger and deeper in our own respective faiths. So you really, we all encourage conversations, you know. But I want to share that last little bit with you too, because when I read that, I was just kind of blown away. Right then and there, like I said, without giving out names, right then and there, I thought, you know what? This is so-and-so's calling. This is, I think, part of why God blessed this person that I know with this gift, because the gift they have, because they actually became a teacher through this gift. And if that person that I'm talking about hears this, I think they'll understand what I'm talking about, hopefully. I just don't want to give out any information or anything because I was asked I was given the privilege of doing something and I was so happy to do it. But I was too excited to wait until the journey furthered for them to share that part. But I'm hoping anyway that I didn't give anything away about anything because I think I was very careful on how I worded things to be respectful of that person's privacy and give them the time they need to do their journey with this particular thing. So, but I just thought where it was Christmas, it was very, very important to kind of bring that to people's attention and minds. And even if they don't do conversations with their families, even if you don't choose to do that, just to ponder it yourself, you know. We all get the ability to say, you know, oh, you know, I wish I could do this or I wish I could do that and go further, but his life was cut at 33. And although it was supposedly prophesied way before Jesus' time here that, you know, there's going to be a Messiah born, this is what, and it was all already figured ahead of time for him. You know, what most people that I talk to have said is they believe that he was part God and part man. So my feeling is the part man of him, the part of him that was man, I'm like, you know, it was actually a good thing to ask or to bring up. Was he satisfied and happy? You know, with the time he had here, with what he was able to do while he was here, and was he fulfilled and satisfied with that? So, anyway, hopefully I got the channel's points across. And like I said, if anything else comes to mind that I forgot to mention, I'll make a part 2 video. If any of you have anything to add to this conversation, please feel free to leave comments. Hopefully I did this and please though, I'm asking you all, please, because we've run into this problem before. If you are going to comment, you may do so, but we ask please that you do so respectfully. Respecting everyone has their own different opinions. They might not all be in agreement with yours. They might not all be in agreement with ours. But we all have we are all entitled to our opinions. We're all entitled to share them politely. And I say politely because this is a faith-based page. We're not out there to be nasty to one another. And as incredible as it is, that has happened in the past. There's been some nasty comments that needed to be removed, and that shouldn't be, because if we're all saying that we're Christian or people of faith at least, and we believe in some higher power of some kind, then except for Satanism, which is not welcome here, and Satanists are not welcome here, but anyone else that is a God-believing religion of some kind is, then we should all have enough, you know, knowledge to know that that isn't of Jesus. That isn't of God. Being hateful, nasty, and, you know, just, that isn't God's way. So, and it doesn't matter how you twist the Bible or any teachings you've learned, putting out hate and hate-filled comments and bashing people's opinions and all that is not of God's way. and it's definitely not of this channel's way. So any negative or rude comments of any kind will be removed as soon as they're seen by the admin/admins. But we encourage you to add your own input. If you have some Christmas facts, please share them. We encourage it. Just like I said, do so politely, please, and respectfully. And especially if you have disagreeing or opposing opinions, again, they're very welcome here. Just polite and respectfully, that's all. So for now, we bid you good afternoon or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. And if anything more comes to mind, like I said, we will make another video, hopefully next week around this time-ish. So, God bless you all. Remember, this is definitely the season of giving, so please try to think of things like random acts of kindness. You can, even better, make them anonymous random acts of kindness, because part of an act of kindness is sometimes that you don't get any pat on the back for it. It's just you know and God knows that you did it, and that's actually the best gift of all, giving of yourself without getting anything in return for it. So we encourage that, and other than that, in case we don't get a chance to do another video for whatever reason, we here at God's Not Dead Movement wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday season, and a God-blessed New Year. Thank you, and please keep spreading God's word. Bye.